Are you ready for the college football season? It kicks off Thursday night as Nebraska takes on Cincinnati in Kansas City, and we're going to dive deep into that game. But first of all, if you're brand new to the Doc Talk Sports YouTube channel, go ahead and give this channel a subscription. Helps our community grow. Give the video a like, and of course, leave your comments if you hear anything that you like or even if you don't like. In years past, we've always done Behind the Point Spread live on Wednesday night. We're switching that up this year, and we're only going to look at one game each and every week, and that one game is going to be the Nebraska game with our Vegas insider, Scott Spreitzer. Well, Scott, we're going to do a little bit different this year. You know, we've always gone live on like Wednesday nights and talked about 5 games. And then at the end of the day, Rob's a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. You're a busy guy. I said, let's narrow it down to one game. And if it's going to be on the Doc Talk YouTube channel, might as well just be Nebraska, right? So we're going to talk about Nebraska each and every week.
Sounds great, man. Listen, I'm going to give Doc Rob a break because, I mean, you know, he's got to bring them out of their sleep in surgeries. It's not just putting them under. So he's got to be thinking about those things. I get it. He's a pretty busy guy, but yeah, I'm going to miss doing the Wednesday night show. We had a nice following for that. And it was a blast talking about 5 or 6 games a week with you guys, but looking forward to this, talking Husker football every week.
And of course, Nebraska football is something you're passionate about, being from Bellevue. I won't say Omaha, you're from Bellevue. But Dr. Rob may join us from time to time. It just depends whether he has surgery or not. But here's a Thursday night opener for Nebraska. It's going to be probably, it's an 8 o'clock start, Arrowhead Stadium, neutral site game, even though it's a home game for Cincinnati. Yeah. The year 3 of Matt Rule. And this is where Matt Rule's traditionally made the big jump at Temple and Baylor. How did they start off the season?
Man, I'm telling you, I really think if they can win this game, get out of the blocks on a positive note, they've got an outside shot as a dark horse to make the playoffs. I really believe that way. Looking at the roster, Hogerson being brought into this mix last year, now having almost a full year to work with the offense. I really do. I believe that, in fact, I did a video about a month ago, and I did my top 5 playoff dark horses, not to win the national title, but to reach the playoffs, and Nebraska was one of those 5 teams. And so, again, it all comes down to winning this game. They win this game, they could start 5-0. They could beat Michigan. They're beatable in Lincoln with a young, new quarterback and a coach who I don't believe is going to be on the sideline for that game. But, I'm kind of looking like at an 8-4 year for Michigan. So if they can win this game, it's everything points to a potential big season. I don't think they have a shot in hell, so to speak, to beat Penn State on the road towards the end of the year. But if Penn State falters along the way, they're thinking national championship, Travis. And if they're kind of thrown off target, maybe they are susceptible, depending on how the Huskers play down the road. But that's, obviously putting the cart before the horse. You can lose 2 games, you can be in the playoffs, and just get past Cincinnati. Put all those demons behind them over the last decade or so.
So you're an analytics guy. You know the numbers. We've gone to you for the numbers for the years. You got Dylan Raiola. You've got Sorsby over at Cincinnati. What are you looking at analytics-wise from this game?
Well, if you look at Sorsby, he came over to Cincinnati last year, and he played pretty well, actually. He averaged about 4.5 yards per carry. He ran the ball over 100 times. So he has that ability to not only escape the pocket when he's under pressure, but to call his own number at times. He's a decent passer. He reduced his interceptions last year with Cincinnati after coming over to the Bearcats program. I think he had 18 touchdowns, 7 picks. And again, he's a decent passer. He's got a decent enough arm to throw deep if they can get behind the secondary, his receivers. They did lose their top receiver from last year, but they've got a really nice tight end by the name of Royer. Keep an eye on him. The biggest issue for this quarterback and this offense last year was red zone inefficiency. They were terrible inside the 20-yard line. So we'll see if they've got that worked out. On the flip side, as far as Dylan Raiola, the sky's the limit. I mean, there were 2 Raiola seasons last year, pre-Dana Hogerson and post-Dana Hogerson. And he was a 64-65% passer before Dana arrived on campus. And those last 4 games, he ended up hitting 72% of his passes, just a shade under that. Got to shore up the decision-making when it comes to throwing to the wrong color jersey, but that's kind of a first-year football player's mistake. I thought he made it times last year, and I think Hogerson is going to be able to iron that out a little bit for Raiola in this offense. I like his receiving core. I like the transfers that they brought in at the wideout position. So I really do think that, this should be a bust out year in Hogerson's offense for Dylan Raiola. And the thing about data, I mean, listen, we all have a Peter principle, we like to call it, right? Hogerson is an OC. He's not a head coach. So he's right where he needs to be in that position. And I love the fact also that Raiola can have a guy like Emmett Johnson, who he shined also once he got used to Hogerson's offensive play calling late last year.
Anything defensively that stands out to you?
Well, just don't get beat by the big play if you're Nebraska this game. Cincy, again, like I said, they have the ability, they've got the talent to beat you deep on occasion. And if you give up more than one in this game, you're going to be in a dogfight. That's what they've got to watch out for. So I think they're going to be, I really do believe, even though they've had some losses and some couple of pretty nice losses from the defense from last year, that they can be more physical this year than they were a season ago. New DC, obviously, but he's familiar with the program. But again, it's all about that secondary, making sure they don't get beat. And you don't want to go, 3rd and 10, have a team 3rd and 10 3 or 4 times and give up 2 first downs out of those 4 times, let's say. So they really got to pay attention to the big playability that Cincinnati has. And, it's not the same level as some of the teams they're going to see later this year as far as big playability, but that's one of the things I'm concerned about with this Nebraska defense. You give up 3 or 4 big plays, you can lose this game.
So you've got the mega computer in front of you. This line's what right on 6.5 as we're recording. So where's the money going right now? And you don't make a play on every game. We make that pretty obvious. But are you making a play on this game? And if yes, why? And if not, what's keeping you away?
What's keeping me away is Nebraska's decade of history that they've had now, and just not trustworthy. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be trustworthy in this game. About 55, 56% of the tickets, by the way, have been written on the Huskers. Although the line did come down from where it first opened. It was 7.5. Now it's 6.5, as you mentioned. I do like Nebraska. I think they're worth pizza money if you want to go there, because I do think they got a great shot to win this by 2 touchdowns if they shore up again any long distance plays by Cincinnati, which I think they will for the most part. It's just that history. It's like, you got to show me until a program can show me that it has turned things around as far as the winning culture, the thoughts going on between the years. If they drop down 10-0, in the first quarter of this game, are they going to be strong enough mentally to be able to overcome any issues early in the game? So for those reasons, that's the only reason I'm holding back as far as making this a significant bet. I look at Satterfield, the coach for Cincinnati. He had that great run at Appalachian State, incredible record. And he was winning like 3.5 games to every 1 loss when he was at App State. But if you look at his last 5 years, which included 3 at Louisville and now 2 at Cincinnati, he's 25-35. So I do believe we have, and I power rank the coaches, we got a pretty good edge as far as the coaching staff when it comes to Nebraska. One more thought that might be a little bit of an edge for Cincy, although the defense kind of collapsed last year in the last 5 games for the Bearcats. They gave up like 32 a game. They went out and they got Veit. I think it was from Iowa State, and he knows Hogerson. These two coached against each other in the Big 12 for a couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see if he knows anything that Hogerson normally tries to do, and if Hogerson has a couple of wrinkles for Veit, one of the top defensive coaches for Cincy.
So the advice from Scott Spreitzer, wait for the eye test. That's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for the eye test, right? Unless
absolutely. And that's what I do in week 0 and week 1. Travis, I had 1 play last week. That was it. And I might not have more than 3 this week. I've got a couple already. Nebraska is, I think, in a good enough position where, I can recommend people making, again, a pizza money bet on them. If you're betting a nickel a game, you might want to drop this down to a C-note. Game, in this game. Just again, never bet more than you can afford to lose. And if that means you can only bet 22 to win 20, then only bet 22 to win 20. Just don't go in the wrong account when you're talking about your betting. So again, I have an opinion on Nebraska, a little bit more than that. I might throw a few bucks on it. It just won't be the normal sized bet.
All right, Scott, before we let you go, because I forgot to get all the information, where can people find you and your services?
Yeah, on Twitter, it's Scott Wins, or on X, it's at Scott Wins. And I post something every morning before everything gets going, usually about 11 a.m., I guess to be safe, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, Central. You'll be able to jump on X and you'll see what I got going for the day. And I've always got a video up at least 5 or 6 days a week, a comp video by that time. And of course, you can find all of my stuff over at DocSports.com, still exclusive to the gang out of Wisconsin. Don't hate, man. Don't hate. I know they're from Wisconsin, but DocSports.com has been around for 50 plus years. Maybe not the website, but Doc Sports in general.
Excellent stuff. Scott Spreitzer, always good catching up. We'll do it again next week, buddy.
Go Big Red. Take care, Travis.